They told me I was saving her, the saloon girl desperate for a respectable man to rescue her from sin. My gambling debt forced the marriage, and I walked into that church convinced I was doing her a favor. Aurora Sinclair came down that aisle like she was heading to execution, except her eyes weren't afraid, they were calculating. That night I expected gratitude, maybe tears. She shut the door and said, "Sit down and listen." Then she laid out exactly how our marriage would work, who really held the power, and why every assumption I'd made was dead wrong. Turned out I wasn't saving anyone. She was saving me. Grayson Mitchell learned he was getting married on a Tuesday afternoon in his father's study. Thomas Mitchell, owner of the largest cattle operation in Laramie County, stood behind his mahogany desk with barely controlled rage. $8,000 to Jack Brennan. Thomas's voice was ice. A saloon owner. Grayson had been winning for 3 days before the cards turned. Pride and whiskey kept him at that table past reason. "I'll pay it back. You don't have time. Brennan wants payment by week's end, or he spreads word that Mitchells don't honor debts." Thomas poured bourbon with steady hands. He offered an alternative. His bookkeeper wants out of saloon life, Aurora Sinclair. You'll marry her Saturday. The debt disappears. Our reputation stays intact. I can't just marry. You created this mess. You'll fix it. Thomas dismissed him with a gesture. 4 days. Get ready. Grayson left feeling gutted. Marriage to a saloon girl. Society would feast on this for years. At least Aurora Sinclair would be grateful he'd rescued her from shame. That's what he told himself. Saturday arrived hot and thick, St. Mark's Church filled with scandal-hungry society, his mother wearing black like mourning clothes. Aurora Sinclair walked down the aisle alone. Simple cream dress, dark hair severely pinned. She couldn't be more than 23, but her eyes, grey-blue and completely unafraid, stopped him cold. No gratitude, no relief. Just cool assessment, measuring him like a problem to solve. Judge Harrison rushed through hollow words, love, honor, cherish. When Grayson kissed his bride, Aurora turned her cheek. This is transaction, not romance. At the reception, society ladies circled with barracuda smiles, asking Aurora where she was from, what her family did. All polite ways of confirming their suspicions. Aurora answered with perfect courtesy and zero information, giving them nothing. Grayson watched her navigate the room, noticing how she positioned herself to overhear conversations, tracking who spoke to whom. She wasn't cowering. She was studying, planning. His mother approached Aurora with a frozen smile. "Your room is prepared upstairs, 3rd door on the left." "Thank you, Mrs. Mitchell. I'm sure I'll be comfortable." Aurora stood at the guest room window, still in her wedding dress. Grayson knocked and entered without waiting. "We should talk," he said. "Yes, we should." Aurora turned and something had changed. The compliant bride was gone. "Close the door." "Look, I know this isn't ideal." "Sit down. Not a request." "Excuse me?" "Sit down." Aurora pointed to the chair. "We're establishing rules, and you're listening." Grayson's pride flared. "My father paid off your debt." "My debt?" Aurora laughed coldly. "You gambled away $8,000. Brennan married me off as a favor to your father, who couldn't afford the scandal. Let's be clear about who saved whom." Grayson sat. "Here's what happens. To the world, we're respectable newlyweds. I'll play reformed saloon girl. You'll play noble heir. Behind closed doors, we're business partners. I won't share your bed, pretend to love you, or be your servant. I'll manage household accounts better than whoever does it now, maintain appearances, and make you look good." She stepped closer. "In exchange, you'll respect those boundaries. What makes you think you can dictate terms? Because you need me more than I need you. Being a saloon girl I can overcome. Being a Mitchell who destroyed his family's reputation. You'll carry that stink forever." Her smile had teeth. I worked 3 years at Brennan's. Men wear masks of respectability, then show their real faces when nobody's watching. The mask is the lie. She met his eyes. I'm not wearing a mask for you. This is who I am, smart enough to know my value, tough enough to protect it, strategic enough to use this marriage to build something better. Every assumption crumbled. You're nothing like I expected. Good. Expectations are prisons. She pulled pins from her hair. Did you expect a grateful victim who'd worship you for saving her? Yes, he admitted. I don't need saving. I need opportunity. This marriage gives me that. She sat on the bed. Do we have an agreement? Grayson looked at his wife and saw, clearly, not broken, not grateful, a survivor who'd turned disaster into leverage. We have an agreement. Within 3 days, Aurora found irregularities in the household accounts. The trusted housekeeper had been stealing for 2 years. How did you catch it? Grayson stared at her neat columns. I tracked Brennan's books for 3 years. Saloon owners attract thieves. She tapped a figure. Mrs. Howard ordered 5 pounds of coffee twice weekly for 6 people. Either you're drinking 20 cups daily, or she's selling excess. Mrs. Howard confessed. Catherine Mitchell was horrified by the theft and by Aurora discovering it. I suppose we should be grateful, she said stiffly at dinner. You should hire someone honest, Aurora replied evenly. I can recommend someone. Fair worker, 3 children to feed. Someone from before. Someone who served drinks while I kept books. Harder worker than anyone here. Aurora held Catherine's gaze. Respectable doesn't mean competent, Mrs. Mitchell. Thomas Mitchell coughed into his napkin, hiding a laugh. Later, Grayson found Aurora reviewing ledgers. You didn't have to challenge my mother. Yes, I did. She needs to learn I'm not a pet to train. Neither are you. What's that mean? You're smarter than you act. 3 languages, agriculture science degree. I saw the books in your room, but you play careless rich boy because it's easier than your father's expectations. She closed the ledger. I know masks. You wear yours differently than saloon men, but it's still a mask. She gathered papers. We're partners. I expect you to be as honest with me as I am with you. Drop the act. After she left, Grayson sat in silence, feeling exposed. 6 weeks later, the cattleman's ball arrived, society's annual test. Aurora emerged in deep burgundy, styled perfectly, carrying herself like she'd been born a Mitchell. Mrs. Thornton, the mayor's wife, cornered her. You must tell us how you're adjusting, so different from your previous circumstances. Very different, Aurora agreed. Managing accounts for a major cattle operation requires actual skill, not just pouring drinks and smiling. Mrs. Thornton's smile froze. Although, Aurora continued, the Silver Spur taught valuable lessons, like spotting people who smile while calculating how to use you. That translates surprisingly well to polite society. Mrs. Thornton retreated. Grayson's friend Owen grinned. Your wife just destroyed the mayor's wife. I noticed. You're lucky. Grayson watched Aurora deflect insults with surgical precision. I'm starting to realize that. Later, he found her on the terrace. You didn't have to fight them all night. Yes, I did. They need to learn I'm not ashamed. If I show weakness, they'll never stop. Must be exhausting, always fighting. More exhausting to pretend you're something you're not. She glanced at him. You should know. Grayson leaned beside her. I spent my life trying to be the son my father wanted. Then I gambled away $8,000 and proved I was worthless. You're not worthless, you're human. Aurora's voice softened. That night in my room, I saw through you immediately. You were terrified, not of me, of failing again, of not meeting impossible standards. You saw all that? I spent 3 years reading men's faces for lies. She turned to face him. Here's what I see now. A man smarter than he pretends, kinder than he admits, trapped in a role that doesn't fit. Sound familiar? It did. Something shifted between them, recognition, understanding. What do we do? He asked quietly. Stop pretending, with each other at least. Aurora held out her hand. Partners? Grayson took it. Her grip was firm, equal. Partners. They stood under Wyoming stars as music drifted from the ballroom. Two strangers forced together by circumstance, finding something unexpected. Truth. Inside, society gossiped. Out here, Grayson Mitchell and Aurora Sinclair simply existed. No masks, no expectations, no lies, just two complex humans learning to see each other clearly, and that was worth more than any respectable reputation.